Honorable Men Discord. Spoiled brat or mental case issue? Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification button. What I have queued up right now is courtesy of Action News, which is CBS 47 and Fox 30. This is the report of the 14-year-old Floridian boy who killed both of his parents after an argument, walked to a church, called 911 to report himself. Let's get into the news report and we'll talk about it further.
Right now, deputies are working to figure out why a 14-year-old allegedly killed his parents.
Deputies say the teen called 911 just after midnight, saying he killed David Lee and Brandy Smith. Their bodies were found inside a home on Silver Point and Country Road 220 in Clay County. Deputies found the teen at a church about 1 mile away from the home. And Action Jackson's live team coverage of these murders.
We start with anchor Emily Turner, who spoke with a family member, the only one to get a chance to speak with that family member about this tragedy they're experiencing now.
It's just absolutely devastating no matter which way you look at it. A young teenager in jail for the murder of his parents. His parents have now passed. They were shot and killed last night. And there is one surviving family member. We're told it's a daughter who's in her 20s who doesn't live here, now left to deal with the tragedy all alone.
Good kid, straight A student.
Instead of starting high school next week, 14-year-old Trevor Lee is behind bars. Kyrie Bayman is his best friend and says he would never have thought this possible.
He was funny, charismatic. He always brought good energy, good vibes.
But now he's charged with killing both of his parents. It happened just after midnight. Clay County Sheriff Michelle Cook says David Lee and Brandy Smith were shot to death.
It appears that there was some sort of domestic argument last night between Trevor Lee and his parents, and that this shooting culminated from that argument.
Deputies are now tasked with figuring out what that fight was about and whether there were any behavioral issues before.
I don't know what caused them to do it, so.
Brandy's cousin, James Lewis, still can't believe it.
I guess I never know what caused them to do that, because, like I say, he had good parents. So for him to, do that, we don't know why.
He says the family seemed close and always got along.
They were probably the best or one of the best families I knew. They were funny, and they treated me very well. They told me all the time that they loved me like a son.
And the Clay County Sheriff's Office is working to figure out what that argument was about, and as a result have been asking folks in the community, neighbors, friends of the family, to come forward and talk to them so they can get a clearer picture of exactly what happened and why this escalated so far. Reporting live in Middleburg, Emily Turner, Action News Jax.
I'm actually speechless. Let me go into what the law official had to say about this case.
Good morning, Sheriff Michelle Cook here from Clay County, and I am here this morning to report some just terribly tragic news. Just after midnight this morning, our 911 communications center received a call from a young man who stated he had just killed his parents. He stated that deputies could find his parents at the house and that he had walked just over a mile away to a church, and he would await for deputies to arrive to take him into custody. Deputies responded immediately to both locations, the church and then to a home on out here in the Middleburg area. When deputies arrived to the church, they took 14-year-old Trevor Lee into custody. When almost simultaneously deputies arrived to the address in question, they found two deceased individuals inside, David Lee, 44 years of age, and Brandy Smith, 45 years of age. Both of the deceased appeared to have gunshot wounds. Based upon our preliminary investigation, and we're still very early in this investigation, it appears that there was some sort of domestic argument last night between Trevor Lee and his parents, and that this shooting culminated from that argument. This does appear to be an isolated incident, and we have no further threat to our community at this time. Again, this is a very active scene. Our detectives are working diligently to try to figure all of this out. We do want to extend our deepest sympathies to the family, the friends, and all of those who are affected by this heartbreaking incident. And we would like to ask anybody in the community that may have some information regarding Trevor Lee or his parents to please reach out to us at 904-264-6512. And with that, I will take any questions.
Did the teen have any prior mental health history? Anything like, visiting the guidance office at, school, or any therapy, any Baker Acts?
That we're looking into that. That's going to be part of the investigation. You think about this just happened at midnight last night, just after midnight, and we're here early Monday morning. So all of that is going to be looked at. His history at school, any previous contacts, we don't know right now, but that'll be part of the investigative process.
Just going by names alone, biological dad, do we have a relation with the woman?
I believe these are both his biological parents at this time. I know the father is for sure.
With different names, I was curious.
Correct.
Was it the parents' gun or was the kid's gun?
At this time, we believe it's going to be the parents' gun, but we're still, again, looking into that through, talking to him, finding out where the gun was, how he got a hold of the gun, how did he know the gun was there. The gun was recovered at the scene. He left the gun at the scene when he walked to the church to call 911.
Were they both shot just one single time, and if so, where?
That I do not know. Again, part of the investigative process.
And additionally, was there anyone else in the home, maybe a sibling who was obviously not harmed but was just in the home?
At this time, it appears that only Trevor and his parents were in the home when this incident occurred.
Anyone else?
Anything else? Again, appreciate you guys coming out, and just, again, if any citizens have any information about Trevor Lee, please give us a call, 904-264-6512, or send us a Safe Watch tip. Thank you.
Real quick.
So I wasn't being funny when I said in the beginning, spoiled brat or mental health issue. And the reason why I had to say that is because this is not the first news report that I've seen that had to do with a child killing their parents. There was one that stands out right now in my mind where it was over the fact that I believe the parents confiscated a video game console. And I said to myself, you got to be kidding me. What the hell is going on in this world? What the hell is going on in this world? And by all means, if this is, in fact, once they investigate, and if it is, in fact, a mental health issue, then, hopefully he gets the necessary help he needs. If it's not, I'm speechless. It's the biggest betrayal ever, And this is for you young folks out there. No matter how bad you may feel you have it, no matter how irritating your parents may be, one, be grateful you have parents, right? Because there's kids in foster homes that are waiting for parents to choose them, all right? All right, let me say that again. Be grateful you have parents, because there's children in foster homes waiting for parents, waiting for families, all right? Another thing is, when the news report first broke, I couldn't help but look at the neighborhood. Now, just off of what I saw, it seems like a nice neighborhood. And you might say, oh, you're speculating. Clearly, I'm speculating. I'm not there, right? But from the looks of it, it looks beautiful. It looks like a beautiful home, a beautiful neighborhood. Now, I don't know the community, what the community actually looks like. I don't know about the individuals that live in that community. But I said to myself, how ungrateful. For those of you that travel, you could relate to what I'm about to say. I've been a few places in my life. Not many, but a few places. And some of those places I've traveled to, it makes me realize just how good I have it here in the United States. All right? And that's for me as a grown man realizing this, right, from traveling. And I was just talking to one of my old associates yesterday, and I was just talking about how I've had times where I said to myself, man, why is my life going like this, in this direction, right? But I'm able to retune that thought into a positive thoughts, because I said to myself, but look at all the stuff I do have compared to others, right? Now, there's always levels to things. Clearly, I'm not a millionaire. If you guys didn't know that, I'm not a millionaire. And, I'm not a six-figure person either, all right? And this is real talk on this channel, all right? We're not here to fabricate things just for the sake of clicks and more subscribers, all right? I'm not a millionaire. I'm not a six-figure person, right? I'm a man doing something that he loves, right? Which is doing this channel. But hear me out here. Through travel, I've seen people's living situations, and I said to myself, man, I complain a lot when I'm in the States, but I got it good, right? I have a closet filled with sneakers that some of them I haven't even touched. I have more than enough jackets, jeans, you name it. All right. More than enough shades, designer shades. And you might be saying, that's nothing, I have a working car. Is it the latest car? No, I have the working car. I love my car. My car is over 6 years old now, I believe, or maybe even more than that, maybe 7 at this point. I'm saying all this to say this. Again, if this young man who's 14, who took the precious lives of the 2 people that loved him the most, which he may not realize that until he sits in prison for a long time and thinks back at the good times, rather than in that moment he decides, oh, they're getting on my nerves, let me get rid of them. And I'm only speaking if he does not have a mental health issue, right? Be grateful for what you have. Because, again, I saw his home, and I'm saying to myself, what a nice neighborhood. I grew up in an apartment building for the majority of my life. An apartment building out in Queens. And even then, there's reason to be grateful because, again, like I told you, in my travels, I've seen some of people's living conditions, and I have absolutely nothing to complain about. And the moment I even have the desire to complain, sometimes I catch myself and say, don't even do it. Don't do it. Nope, don't do it. Don't do it, because with each complaint, I believe God is listening, and God is saying to himself, how ungrateful this guy is. With all that I've given him, he thinks he needs more. If you have a roof over your head, you got clothes on your back, you got shoes on your feet, be grateful. If you got people that love you, be grateful. In his case, the home looks beautiful. The community looks beautiful. Sometimes I pass houses and I say to myself, I wonder what it would have been like at a young age to grow up in an environment of a suburb, houses. How much clarity I would have had to focus in school. And some people might say, oh, you don't need a house to focus in school. It makes a difference. Your environment makes a difference on how you learn. When you're living in communities where it's competitive, you live in an apartment building, you live in the projects, and it's a whole bunch of personalities that you have to deal with just to get to your doorstep. Some people don't like you for the dumbest reasons. It changes things. It puts added pressure on that piece that you need to focus, as opposed to someone who gets picked up by their parents drive into the driveway and they get to go inside their house. They get to bypass all those obstacles many of us deal with in the inner city, right? And again, I'm only saying this because be grateful out there. And for those of you that are grateful, keep it up. Keep being grateful. And if you're ungrateful and you have a few dollars in your bank account, book a trip to some places and see how people are living. I had the opportunity to go out to Brazil a few years back, less than 5 years ago. And I had the opportunity to go through one of the nicer favelas out there, right? And believe me when I tell you, you'll appreciate, for those of you in New York, you'll appreciate bodegas and how it's set up. I've been in what they would call a store, a convenience store, like we call bodegas. We call convenience stores in New York bodegas. I went to a convenience store in the favela community, and it was pretty much like the size of a closet, but it had everything that they need, the essentials. It had milk, bread. You can get coffee, chips, like some of the stuff that you would get in a bodega, but obviously not as much quantity and variety of products. Narrow streets, homes on top of homes. If you don't know what a favela looks like, you have YouTube to look up what favelas look like. Look at a few videos of favelas, right? And again, I'm saying all this to say, be grateful out there. That should be the takeaway in this episode. I don't know what that 14-year-old's mental state is. I don't know, and neither does the officials, as you just heard in this press conference. But be grateful out there. Be grateful. You don't have to have the latest. And more times than not, you're gonna always be chasing the high of keeping up with the Joneses. That was an old saying back in the days. I don't even know if they're using it still. You're gonna find yourself always keeping up with the Joneses, which I've done that for many years of my life. I don't do it as much now. When I buy things, I buy it because I want it, not necessarily because, I see everyone's wearing it, so I go pick it up because I want to fit in. I did that in the past. I can honestly say I did that in the past. When I was young, I would do those things. What's popular, you wear what's popular because you don't want to be unpopular, because most times when you're unpopular, you become a target of bullying and things of that nature. But who knows what this young boy was dealing with? But by no means am I going to ever sit here and say it's acceptable to take the lives of your parents. Never acceptable. Listen, my mother at sometimes would kind of get on my nerves as a young boy, right? My father, I wouldn't say he would get on my nerves, but first of all, I respected my father to the point where I would never think to even speak back to him. But I know the times are different now than they were when I was younger, but never would I think of harming my parents. Never. And not even at this age. I don't know what's going on with this world, but it's clear that the absence of God is a definite sign within this world. If you disagree, let's talk about it in the comments. Keep it respectful. If you don't believe in God, I'm not going to disrespect you for not believing in God. That's up to you. I'm not here to sell believing in God. But just know, all I see through these news reports and what I see in the world is the absence of God. And I truly believe that. But that's all I have on this episode. What do you think about all of this? It's a tragedy. It's a pure tragedy. There's no other way to put it. But that's all I have on this episode. As always, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Keep tuning in. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I drop episodes daily at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll see you in the next episode. Stay honorable.